You're welcome.
So thank you. My name is John Bosco Olum Okelo. I'm the district CDO for Amuru. I've been working with Save the Children over the period that they have come to the district. And one of our mandates as a Department of Community-Based Services is to ensure participation of the different interest groups into the development process.
Yes.
That is, we look at gender and equity, we look at persons with disability, look at the youth.
What challenges do the youth face alongside gender and disability that deter them from achieving their desired well-being?
The youth.
Yes.
The majority of the youth here have not fully benefited from the education system. Many of them are actually illiterate. And many of them that have gone through schools have not gotten skills. So they are basically not employable. And this is true for both the male and the female youth. Yeah, actually the female youth even face more difficulties in terms of getting into early marriage and getting into either a polygamous marriage, coupled with illiteracy and lack of skills, lack of assets. Those are some of the challenges that these young people face. And in the end, they're in that vicious circle of poverty.
Are there specific challenges that the adolescents and young girls face that deter them from achieving their desired well-being?
Yeah, I've talked about GBV, which is in specific forms, either teenage pregnancies or early marriages. There are generally issues related to reproductive health services, access and actually uptake of those reproductive health services. That means they end up into being young parents when they're not prepared, and they drop out of school. So once you're dropped out of school, it is a high chance that you will not attain your full potential. Yeah.
What or where and how are the WASH services and facilities available to these young adolescents in the community?
Since they're part of the community, and since it is within the government policy that at least we have access to safe and clean water within a given range in terms of distance, they benefit from the general provisions of the WASH services. We do not have specific WASH services for young people unless they are within the school environment or the health facility. Because within the school environment is where we have maybe a borehole for the school. We have changing rooms for the girls, separate for boys, latrine and separate latrines for girls. Yeah, those stances.
Yeah, thank you very much, staff from Save the Children. My names are Jennifer Piu Lagueno, representative of Women with Disability in Nua District Council.
And based on your experience in the community, who are the most vulnerable people?
In our community, the most vulnerable people are persons with disability. Although other people also say that even women are vulnerable, but persons with disability are more vulnerable in a sense that sometimes because we have different types of disabilities. So it is very difficult to understand, especially those with hearing impairment, because sometimes they feel sick, and when they go to seek for medical assistance, it is very difficult for that medical staff to understand exactly the problem the person is suffering with. And secondly, even if the school going age, children with disability are not even taken to school because parents have really don't value person with disability as human being. Because when you go to a family like over like 4 children, and if one of them is person with disability, when you ask that parent that how many children do you have, the parent will respond that I have 3 children and that one of disability.
How about access to wash services?
Services like?
Take for example, access to the water points, access to latrines.
That one is still a challenge, and we are trying to fight against that, because there is a design that was sent to the district whereby person with disability can move very freely to access clean water. So what water officer told us that that design is very expensive to make because it needs a lot of money. So they still get that difficulties.
Okay. How about access to and use of communication technologies?
Still a challenge there. Yeah, because especially those with hearing impairment, you know, this sign language that they use, it is for those that got training. You find this one of the local community who do not have that access of getting the training. It is very difficult to communicate to them using that sign language interpretation.
Okay, how about the technologies?
Yeah.
Such as phones, radios?
Most of them have it.
Based on your experience and interaction in the community, what is the position of women, including those with and without disability, regarding access and control over resources?
It's so unique here. The decision making is the man. And when it is a man to make decision, you certainly know that if a woman needs, maybe she wants to go for antenatal care, if the man has not authorized her, it means therefore she has no authority to leave the home. If, even though there is something, there is money with her, but the man has not authorized her, certainly she will not leave. Which means therefore, any woman who is not empowered, any community which is not empowered, they will have a challenge with access to services.
And
the resources, of course. Until we cause the people to appreciate that, yes, even though the man is not around, as long as the man is in the house, all the resources are available, you can intervene. And after intervening, what do? You pass the message and say, you people, I've gone to the hospital. Tell Daddy I've gone to the hospital, I've picked ABC. But if it is this traditional woman who says, unless the head of the family is at home and he authorizes me to go, that is very risky. We had scenarios here in the hospital. Some mothers came, but they objected operation to remove the baby because the man was not yet around.
Okay.
That is the painful bit of it. And you end up losing a baby because you are still waiting for the man.
A decision.
So a woman who is not able to make decision is certainly bound to suffer, despite the resources being around, because they believe everything in the home is for the man.
Yes, under the control of the man.
Under the control of the man. The woman is only to seek permission, and the man is to authorize. Yeah.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah.
How about their participation in leadership positions? How easily do these women participate?
Yeah, I'm seeing some positive trend. Given that now we have women councillors, we have the composition of LCs, You need some percentage who are women, but that is not adequate.
Is it because of the government policy that gazettes their positions
Yeah.
on the different local councils?
Yes, that is it. Because I've not found many of the women contesting as the chairpersons. I found most of the chairperson LC ones are men. So as a result of that, it is becoming a very big challenge. So what do? We need therefore to help these women and empower them. Some of them are in this position, but they are not empowered. Hence, their advocacy for women's welfare
Issues.
or women issues is limited. Until we empower them, until we help them to have that mindset change and say that, yes, we are in it together. And I have to respect you, despite that I'm a woman, you are a man, all of us can lead, but with mutual respect.
What challenges do the most vulnerable experience in relation with access to economic opportunities and productive assets such as land?
The challenges always they met on the ways. Actually, in the communities, they may have different ideas. Like, for instance, I might be someone who cannot even move, I could not even see. So, which means that when it's coming to time for decision making, they could not even consider me because I am talking on what I'm not seeing. Eh? Like, for instance, when I don't have any eyes, eh? I could say something which I could not even see. And secondly, when things come to the issue of advocacy, I might have that feeling of making the advocacy policy. But there's no way where I could move, I could see, and I could talk to some of my colleagues. So I'd face that challenges.
As access to wash services is concerned.
According to the WAS, WAS always deal with the health. Particularly for the wealth or for the wash. Mostly health deal with water. But if you are to see nowadays, the water point is not all that next to every community. Like for instance,
How about as far as access to wash services is concerned?
according to the WAS, WAS always deal with the health. Mostly health deal with water. But if you are to see nowadays, the water point is not all that next to every community. Which means that what is affecting us or the challenges we are getting, there is not enough water point, which can help the vulnerable people to access the clean water for their health. Yeah.